Good evening, and welcome to the Wednesday, March 26th board meeting of the Warrensville Heights City School District. Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Fuller? Here. Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mrs. Gator? Here. Mr. Newman? Mr. Roberts?
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is the approval of the agenda.
That's good.
Better? Okay. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Mr. Jolly, Dr. Rock, are there?
No, there's no additions to the agenda today. I do want to add, we have one of our Tiger Way Award winners that's here today. The other one wasn't able to attend, so I will have him attend our next meeting.
All right. Do we have a motion, board?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move item number
1.3.
1.3, approval of tonight's agenda, March 26, 2025, regular board meeting.
I second it.
Thank you very much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mrs. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is 1.4, the approval of the minutes. Board, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept item 1.4, which is the approval of the minutes for February 25th and February 27th.
I second that.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator?
Yes.
Mrs. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is item 1.5, public participation. Dr. Rock, Mr. Jolly, do we have any participation cards this evening?
I didn't receive any, did you, Dr. Rock?
All right. Next, board reports. We will suspend our board reports until our work meeting in April 9th, I want to say. All right. Next, we have item 1.7, superintendent reports. Mr. Jolly?
Yes, so tonight I wanted to see my time with Dr. Rock. I have a thorough presentation at our next board meeting. But Dr. Rock has some very good news that he wanted to share. And I want him to have the proper time today.
All right, thank you very much. So that will take us to item 2, the treasurer's reports and financial recommendations. Dr. Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Jolly.
Oh,
Go back. All right, we'll go back to item 1.7, superintendent reports. Mr. Jolly.
yeah, so I'd like to bring up Ms. Hunt for the Tiger Way Awards.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
So we have our classified staff member here in attendance with us today for the Tiger Way, the winner for the third quarter. And I'm just going to read exactly what the nominator submitted to us, and then have her come on up here. I am nominating Ms. Betty White for the Tiger Way Award. Mrs. White is an amazing person and food service employee. Her daily performance is consistently above and up in every aspect of her job description. She builds all of the outstanding custom salads and sandwiches served at the high school throughout the week, which has greatly improved the overall quality of our food. This has resulted in a significant increase in the quantity of students and staff partaking in lunches from the cafeteria. Betty also makes the custom salads for the Healthy Initiative at the Early Childhood Center staff meet on Wednesdays. With her perfect attendance and commitment to excellence, I know of no one more deserving to receive the Tiger Way Award in the Warrensville Heights City School District. Miss Betty White will join me.
All right.
I know who to personally thank because those salads have helped me many a day. So I appreciate that, Ms. Debbie.
Did she bring any with her? Where's the box of salads?
You know what?
Where's
I
the-
make sure Mr.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
we feel that.
So we have an award for you, and then at the new year, we hope that you will attend our function. And then there's a big prize as well. You want to take a picture with the board president?
I gotta get one. Get a couple of them for me.
Thank you.
All right, so that takes us to item 2, Treasurer's Report and Financial Recommendations. Dr. Rock?
Okay, so we have some really great news here tonight. But what I want to do is just review how we got to what we did and how we got there. When I was hired, the calling order was to get new facilities for the district, get the financing, but also pay off the old bonds. So that made it a challenging situation. So we had to come up with a strategic financial model, and Mr. Jolly even spearheaded that, saying, look, find a way to do it first. And then we reviewed it, and then we were able to communicate it out, and then it went into action. So we developed a pathway to finance the new facilities for district-wide. And that was, again, we needed to pay off the old bonds, which had 8 years more to go. We wanted to maximize the $20 million that was on the table for us with the OFCC. And we also wanted to maximize the bond proceeds by utilizing traditional bonds and certificates of participation. And we wanted to balance the affordable options. We wanted to stay within our resources for what we could get for the community. But at the same time, we wanted to maximize the facilities for the community, but then also minimize the impact of taxpayers. Next slide. So the details of the plan that we came up with, and we created this again, Mr. Jolly and myself, and board governance support, and this brought us into very advanced finance options. And this included the use of a municipal advisor, Michael Priscilla, who's here tonight. He was a key help with this, and bond counsel, and then ultimately our community support with a 78% yes vote back in 2018 on the bond. Next slide. So the entire plan then, after we came up with the plan, we communicated it to the school community. They passed the levy. It was a 2-phase plan. When we went to the community, we said the first phase we're not going to need a taxpayer vote, but the second phase we will. I mean, this was a sophisticated plan with advanced finance concepts. And so then when we did go to the taxpayers, we had a 12.3 mil levy, which even my colleagues were saying, boy, you're going double digits. That's a big levy. So, but we had great news on it because even though we were going for 12.3 mils, we had structure in the financing to where the taxpayer would only feel 8 mils. So in 2018, we had 78% of the taxpayers supported the vote. And in fact, Columbus called us and told us we broke the record on a yes vote. Next slide. So then, now let's look at the financial metrics and optics of the plan. So the new bond structure, principal and interest payments were reduced in the first 5 years of finance. And this was by finding a way with the structure of the finance where we made a payment, but we didn't make the payment. Because we made that payment, there would be a lot more cash going out. And remember, we had to pay for the new bonds and the old bonds. So we came up with a way of making a payment, a smaller payment, for the first 5 years while we were paying off the old bonds. Then also, we had aggressive refinance options structured into the new bonds. And I just have to say, this is all, that's Michael Priscilla, getting our bang for the buck with our dollars and interest rates and the whole part of this thing. And he put those aggressive refinance options in here. And I remember in the beginning, I'm like, well, first of all, what are they? How does this work? That I had 100 questions. And he said, just in case. And it paid off. And then also, we structured the financing we received strategically during our construction period. We had some seed money that came in the beginning, but we still took advantage of the markets and all of that. Next slide. So then if we look at the financial market, the metrics and optics of the plan, the calculation on the bond levy. So when we got to the bond levy campaign, we had to show the public, how much is this going to cost on your house? Okay. Now I'm just talking about our bond levies. So at that point in time, the average home in the district was $62,000. So now if you notice on the thing there's 8 mils for the old bond. That was on the books already. We were paying that whether we were getting new buildings or not. And 8 mils for the new bond. Okay. Now remember from the prior page though, the new bond that we passed the millage was 12.3. So already we're charging less. Okay. And that was that financing. Get those smaller payments in the first 5 years. So it came to a total of 16 mils. So the average homeowner was paying $347. Okay, next slide. So then here, this shows the initial savings. If we didn't do our strategic plan and have the smaller payments in the beginning and just flat out charged the full millage, it would have been 20.3 mils. And other treasurers that didn't go down this route or didn't have the leadership from Mr. Jolly say, hey, find a way, if they just did it like a normal way, just like you went to the store and you just bought something for the price it was, didn't research to say, hey, can I get a better price or can I get a better deal? If you didn't do that and you just charged 20, our taxpayers would be paying $440. So right off the bat, in year one, our taxpayers were saving $93 because of this plan. And at the same time, we were paying off the old bonds and accomplishing what we wanted to accomplish to get the new buildings for the district within our resources. The next slide, please. So now, a then and now comparison for where we were then and where we're at now. So since then, we had that bond restructure in the bond structure to refinance. We had those structures put in where I asked 100 questions and I said, okay, let's put them in. It had a dollar amount to it to put it in. But within 9 months, the interest rates dropped substantially. And we had the perfect window to do this refinancing. And we refinanced, we saved $18.5 million. Just like with your house. If you have a house payment and interest rates go down, you go refinance. We have it, but there's just a lot more zeros behind the numbers. So we saved $18.5 million, and we reduced the bond payback period by 6 years. So now, when we need money for the bond payments, it's smaller amounts there, on top of all the rest of those strategies. So now it's starting to really accumulate. In addition to that, we had a very conservative tax valuation projections on the millage rates. We knew they were going to grow, but you have to be conservative because you need to know, are we still going to fall within the guardrails of this financial model? Because this had a lot of moving pieces. And again, if it was just a traditional one where we just went in the store and said, yeah, we want that car for $10,000, okay, that would go that way. But we said, we want this discount now, what do we have to do to get that discount? We have to put some coupons, and we have to, come up with a down payment, those types of things. So that was one of the things in there is to come up with good projections, but conservative, that are within the strategy, because otherwise the model wouldn't work. And then the last one was we paid off the bonds this past December. So the old bonds are off our books now. Next slide. So now also everybody knows, and for all last year I talked about how tax valuations are going to go up, But remember the interplay with House Bill 920 with us. As valuations go up, the tax rates actually go down because we can only, for school districts, we can only collect the original amount and the original millage. So even though valuations go up, we don't have any gains on that. There's just one real little sliver that we get some gains, but we would get losses also on the inside millage. So there's really no interest in increase or decrease, okay? And then, then again, tax values increase equals a tax rate decrease. That's the way law is in Ohio. And then also the bond payments were reduced by the structure of the bond finance. We had that happening also. So these are the three things that like, why did this come up to this? So with all those things happening, our millage rate for next year for the bond levy is 3.75 mils, which is a lot lower than 16 mils.
Sure is.
I mean, just in simple math. So go to the next slide. So this is a comparison. So now, in 2026, if you had and this is what your value of that house would be. So that $62,000 house is now worth $91,000. Notice the old bond mills are off the books, so there's no collection there, okay? But so on day one of the strategy, the taxpayer was paying $347. Now, in 2026, they're going to pay $120. Because you can see where the old millage comes off, and then the new millage is 3.75. Now, we were saying in the beginning, though, that new millage was going to be 16. Even though it was, and that was still below 12. So, but we were still going to fill that, so it was very conservative. So now the savings is $227 per house on this millage, and that's due to this strategic financial plan.
Okay. On top of that initial 93, Coach.
What's that?
On top of that initial $93 and some odd, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the $93 becomes $227. Okay, so the next slide. So now here's the recipe. What was the recipe for our success? Number one is to research and establish a plan. And again, Mr. Jolly is spearheading that, and the board telling me to go find out how. Number two is to utilize the expertise of the municipal advisor, Michael Priscilla, and our bond counsel, in conjunction with me providing the info, or finding out the answers, or finding the data that goes behind it that is needed. Put all the pieces together. Then also, step three is having a flexible and effective board governance for advanced financial concepts. Our board is at the highest level of finance concepts, and that's because you trust us, you have faith in us to come in and bring, but you still test us, you test the concepts that we bring in, but we are very advanced. We're not the normal, some other boards that don't have a good governance or that are not as advanced as us, they would be paralyzed with analyzing things over and over, never making a move. If we didn't have this, we wouldn't have been able to refinance and save that $18.5 million. I'll say that right off the bat. Because interest rates dropped, we had to move fast. I don't think we had a special board meeting, but the timing was right for us to have a meeting. The meeting was close by, and we came. Mr. Jolly and I presented it to the board, and the board says, yes, move ahead. And Mikey came to present because the interest rates were down for that window. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have had this great strategy that we came up with. And then on top of that, communicating the plan to the school community, and that was Mr. Jolly leading the way with that. He got it out to the community. We break the record with the best vote ever in the state of Ohio for a bond fund. And then step five was enjoy the results. Look at the results now, years later. We have district-wide facilities with an additional new building, the Early Childhood Center. We have a decrease in the impact to taxpayers. Taxpayers are actually going to see a decrease on this levy. And we maximize the educational program within our resources. Because again, we were conservative. It had to be affordable to us. Otherwise, the model blows up. And lo and behold, the last and most important for us is to create career opportunities for all of our scholars. That's why we're all here. So there's the recipe for success. So for next year, that's our bond levy is really going down. And talk about, a lot of advanced concepts, a lot of movement, a lot of things to do, but now we can sit back and see the results.
If I add something, Dr. Rock, just for that. Oh, I've been in this industry for just under 30 years, and this is undoubtedly for me the most gratifying, satisfying project with which I've ever been involved. The board especially, I want to make that recognition that Dr. Rock referred into his presentation, because we are in the midst of several transactions right now where we have boards that are just so, they want to have their fingers in everything. And that is what a board should do, but at a certain point, I realize I don't come to you to tell you about educational policy. You have that strength in me and say, I'm not going to ask you about finance because that's your job. And you trusted us. Mr. Jolly especially gave us the plan, and it's been fantastic. When I go to my conferences and when I'm with my peers, even my competitors, they all ask, how did you get that jump in Warrensville Heights? And this is the gem of Northeast Ohio right now. It is a standard by which many other strategies that I implement were completed here with this. So, again, congratulations to the district. All of you should be very proud. The institutional experience of this board is one of the best I've dealt with. Dr. Rock, one of the better treasurers, certainly in my career I've dealt with. So I'm honored and pleasure to have been a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Purcell.
But the recipe for success is the team. So we always say one team, one vision, one goal.
I just want to let's give Dr. Rock an applause. I just want to commend Dr. Rock on all his efforts and his vision and his ability to get things done. In these times, most districts are in deficits. They're cutting positions, and this is even before the government, what's going on with the state and the projected 10% cut is coming. So I think Dr. Rock has us in a good position right now to at least maintain where we are so that we can maintain the services that we provide for our students. For the public and the people watching, I just want you to understand that this is a very high level organization of what we do to ensure that we are providing for our students and making sure that we are good stewards of the community's money. Again, the community trusted us with $68 million, and to see the work that's being done to make sure that the promise that we kept, that once the levies were retired, that we were able to retire when the taxes didn't go up. Those were some of the promises that we made in 2018. And I just thank Dr. Rock that we are in 2025 and those promises are kept. Moving forward, we don't know what the landscape has with the national government and the demolishing of the Department of Education and all the movements and things that's going. It's really important that we continue to work together, collaborate, and make very strategic decisions because we have over 350 employees whose livelihoods are tied to our over 2,000 students that we're responsible for. And with bad decisions, it can be detrimental to both our employees and our students. And I am very concerned moving forward because we don't know what the landscape. No one knows. No one has an idea. We read the paper like everyone else. We see things is coming. But if it happens, decisions have to happen fast. And I know our board is never ready at all times to make those decisions. But as I've been doing at all meetings, trying to prepare people for the worst, because the worst might happen. And when it does, I want people to know we did everything we could to try to preserve as many people with our programs as possible. But the landscape is uncertain. So I'm very thankful that we're in the position that we are in at this time, and prayerfully that we can maintain that. And being the district that we are, a predominantly African American district, we're in the best shape because we got the best people, and with the best people, we have been able to thrive and redo the entire district and increase our enrollment over 28%. So with that, I just am very thankful, but I do want to prepare the public and people that change can happen quick, and we are not in control over what happens. But right now, we're in a good position, and we want to maintain that position. We've taken some conservative steps with money and spending money in the district to just try to preserve what we have to ensure that we can maintain what we have in these uncertain times. So again, kudos to Dr. Rob and Mike Priscilla. We've been working together since 2017, I think. It was 17 when all this began. And for people to know, like, it's a lot that goes on that people don't know about. A lot of meetings happen, out of town travel, all kinds of things. We were in New York City for bond meetings and all type of things to get this done. And the end result is where we are today. So I thank Mike, both Mikes. I thank the board, all the people that's on the board. I also thank Tracy Mitchell, who was the board president for State, who was also part of the teams that got us here. So thank you.
Dr. Rock, thank you very much for your financial acumen, Mr. Priscilla, for your consultation, Mr. Jolly for your leadership. This information that we're receiving here tonight, this is a win. This is a win for not just our district, this is a win for our city, for our citizens, for our scholars. So I can't tell you how thrilled I am with the, I think Mr. Jolly said, the financial stewardship that you guys have demonstrated to put us in a position that we're in. So once again, thank you all very much. All right, we're in section 2. I'm looking for a motion from my board for the treasurer's report, the approval of the treasurer's report and the financial recommendation.
Chair, I'd like to move item number 2 on the next agenda, treasurer's report and financial recommendations. Looking at items 2.0 to 2.4.
You have a second?
A second.
All right, thank you very much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Dr. Ryan, is there any information you would like to provide us prior to voting on the business or any questions that the board would have on the reading of the, now that Dr. Ryan was first?
Yeah, these are the second readings. We've discussed the edits to the credit card policy to make it more competitive for us, and the board policy on debt management. That's great timing with my presentation, because now that memorializes how we handle debt, how sophisticated our debt is here. So now it'll be in a policy that'll live on forever, no matter who the leadership is. And then the other one is a unique one. It's a then and now with Madison Architects, and this was because they were a subcontractor on the ECC project when Coleman Spawn was the design build. So with Coleman Spawn being the design build, that's where all the checks were made. Okay, but as an alternate, we had a last project on to look at a bridge that goes between the elementary school and the ECC back there in the woods that goes over that little wetland. And so we had the services done, but in order to pay Madison directly, we need to do it as a then and now, and then we could pay them. Otherwise, if we went through Coleman Spawn, there's going to be an administrative fee. We're probably saving 15, 17% by just paying them directly, but by doing it as a then and now. And again, it was an alternate that they had instruction to do, because we knew this was something that we need. That's it.
Board, any questions for Dr. Rupp on these items?
I don't have any questions. I want to thank Mike Priscilla. 2017, being a young board president. And being in the financial industry, Mike came in and he explained everything. He took calls 8, 9 o'clock. I called him on weekends. He took us, like Superintendent Jolly said, to actually New York. I never sat in meetings, movies. It was kind of challenging and nervous because these guys were going to decide if Warrensville was going to get the dollar amount to build our elementary school. So I want to thank you, Mike, for all that you did. And he took a dinner. And I want to thank Dr. Rock. Dr. Rock explains it in layman's terms. He explains it like a second grader. And I want to thank Dr. Rock. Like Mr. Jolly said, it's high level, but to actually be part of this and going over maybe 400 meetings to actually get this accomplished and being looking on my right or looking across the table, know my superintendents there trying to do construction, building, meat flipping tables over. Superintendent Jolly knows this, so I just wanted to make it right for our scholars. Thank you, Dr. Rock. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Board, any additional questions or comments? All right. Okay, I'll table flipping aside. Dr. Rock, if there are no additional questions, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator, Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, motion passes, 5-0. That takes us to, section 3, superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action, administrative staff. Board, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we accept item 3.1, resignation of Ray Steve, immigration.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and, seconded, Mr. Jones.
Yes, we'd like to just thank Ms. Wright for her service, her 10 years of service. She is making a life transition, moving out of state. Again, has been a very dedicated employee for the district. She's done a lot. She started our STEAM program. She stewarded our career tech and expanded our career tech program. And she will be a big loss to the district. I personally wish Ruth well on her next endeavor. And it's a very, very hard loss. So I do recommend the board, if the board was to look at some of the presentation.
Board, any questions? Dr. Rock, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, motion passes, 5-0, and we reluctantly accept the resignation of Ms. Wright effective 7/31, 2025. Next item, item number 4, section number 4, superintendent's recommendations and presentations for board action, certificate staff. Board, do you have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move consideration of superintendent's recommendation and presentation for board action. Certified staff looking for items 4.1 through 4.4.
Second.
All right, thank you very much. It's been properly moved and seconded, Mr. Jones.
Yes, 4.1 is accepting the resignation of the teacher at the middle school. 4.2 is accepting the retirement of Lady North Park, a librarian at the middle school. Dr. Viviana, special needs intervention specialist at the high school. And Michelle Rapper, who has served as the guidance counselor at the high school. We thank all three of them for their service and appreciate what they've done for our district. All three of them will be retired at the conclusion of the school year. 4.3 is the employment of a part-time teacher. This is as a result of us having extra need, more special needs students. So what this position would do is provide services for students that we're short in having enough people and time to do. So this part-time person will come in and meet the requirements of our students' IEP. 4.4 is the hiring of our assistant baseball coach. Mr. Wells serves as a paraprofessional at the early childhood center. And it's in the month out Warrensville. And very dedicated to baseball. So this is higher than the assistant coach.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Board, any questions? All right, hearing none, Dr. Rock, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, motion passes, 5-0. That takes us to section 5, superintendent's recommendations and presentation for board action, classified staff. Board, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt, item 5, which is superintendent's recommendation, presentation, board action, classified staff, 5.1 through 5.4.
A second.
All right, thank you very much. Properly moved and seconded, Mr. Jones.
Yes, 5.1 is accepting the retirement of Ms. Denise Brooks, who served the district well in our HR department, as our HR assistant. 5.2 is the hiring of 2 individuals as replacements for individuals of that position for various reasons. 5.3 is the reclassification of a person from a sub food service to a full-time food service. Food service. So it's basically a promotion from somebody from being substitute to full-time. Then 5.4 is a rehire of a person to fill a vacancy also as a food service person.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Board, any questions? Anything in that section? All right, Dr. Rock, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Moomin,
Yes.
Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. That takes us to section number 6, superintendent's recommendations for presentation for personnel and program. Board, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move item number 6, consent agenda, superintendent's recommendations and presentation for personnel and program. Looking for items 6.1 through 6.7.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Mr. Jones.
Yes, so 6.1 is the affirming of a decision to the pharmacist pension bill. 6.2 is the Boys and Command Mentoring Program. This is a new program that will be implemented by the Director of Security, Terry Calloway. This is a program that he ran when he was here before as the air officer, and that he wants to bring back and implement. There is no cost at this time. He's just formulating the program and getting the program organized and to start in the fall. 6.3 is the Cleveland Valley Theater summer program. This will be the first year that we will do a summer program with the ballet. There's been a need, or students have shown interest in doing it further. So we want to continue to expand the ballet with the summer. 6.4, 5, and 6. 6.4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm gonna have Jonathan come up. Jonathan, as you know, Jonathan has been working very hard. He's our coordinator of special projects, who's been responsible for the rec center and all special projects throughout the district. And I would like Jonathan to share the updates. And basically, these are updates on the pool, and they're updates on maintenance plans that we need in order to maintain our new building. So Jonathan, you can talk about 6.4 at this time.
Good evening, board. 6.4 is in the pool on the deep end. They call it the bull nosing. Deep end is where you put your feet in so you can move around. And then part of 6.4 is redo the steps since it's so severe damage. It's going to be done in a product that they call Diamond Bright. It's basically like an underwater plaster. Cut costs and then stainless steel. It's the price of stainless steel right now. Polished stainless steel is expensive. Things are going good in the pool. Once we finish this, I hope to put water in the pool in time for them to
do want to state though, we are looking at all the expenses of the pool, and the decision about the pool might have to come soon. Do we keep it, or do we turn that space into a multi-purpose space?
What time frame are we looking on making that decision? Because if we're going to do something different, we wouldn't move forward.
I think we have to point out we can move forward with the pool because we invested. We invested a lot of money with the pool, but there are some things that's old. The pool pad is old.
Yeah, so we've had to replace, the pool boiler that was old. Pool pack is still existing. That goes bad, you're talking $400,000. So a pool pack is specially designed to keep and cool the temperature of the pool. It's different from an HVAC type of system that you see in cities. Especially designed for humidity. Certain pools have to be a certain temperature. I think you keep water around 87. And then the pool boiler heats the water.
So at the end of that, we don't have to, if there's a catastrophic event, we have to really make a decision if we want to continue to keep the pool. It's really, the usage is not at that high level. I mean, it's a good amenity to have, but it's not a money maker at all. It's not. So I just want to bring it to your attention that that is something that we probably will have to start to look at. Because again, and we're talking about the next generation, the next people, dropping a lot of money and continue to drop money into the pool. That will and can take away from what we're doing in classrooms and other things. So we might need moving forward, just depending on the repairs and so forth. And we're dealing with, there was no like plan for 20 years with the pool. So we're repairing everything that probably if they had a plan 2 years ago, it might not be in the state it's in. And looking at the future, it could become possibly a multi-purpose area where we could put turf down. And we could have like soccer, indoor soccer in there. We could have indoor football, all type of things in the area. Maple Heights recently just filled their pool, and that was the purpose. They use it as a multi-purpose area. They have one, and they filled it in.
Side of Warrensville just finished their construction. We're going to take a trip to them.
So just as a contingency plan, because again, if we filled in, then it's no expenses, no water, no have to treat water on the street.
Jonathan, what was the last one you put back, the that was expected, most outcome of the
So the pool pack was shut down prior to ripping off the building, and when I got in there, we fired it back up. Immediately, we had 27 coils pop. Those are original coils. So we replaced the coils on the unit, everything. We had the burners, the igniters fixed on the unit. So we got that up and running. The pool boiler was shot, wasn't keeping the pool temperature, and we had a big problem with the pool with the sink and the water. So we got all of those issues resolved. This is the last part. Hopefully we can put water in the pool, and we just got money. It's a lot of money.
How many students utilized their pool when it was operational?
So when we had a teacher, that's only we made all the students take in high school.
Oh, okay, because I think it's
Right now, we
beneficial.
don't have a swimming teacher that's or a teacher that's currently certified to teach swimming. So now, of course, we'll look to try to find a teacher, but again, yeah, we're gonna have to look at everything. But I just want to bring it to the board's attention. We have dropped a lot of money into the pool
Okay.
over the years. Again, since I've been here, just trying to keep it operational, we've spent a lot of money. And I don't know if the reward is there for us to keep dropping money.
It's almost similar to like when, the family car. It's starting to get a little bit older, it's starting to hit a little higher mileage. Now we're gonna keep an eye on it and see where we go with it. But it's still operable.
Okay, 6.5 is HVAC controls for the high school, middle school, and rec center. This very crucial.
So, what we wanted to do here immediately, if you recall, we're still going through issues with the elementary school 5 years later. See some of the notes, some of the contracts are not on there, we will amend it. Hopefully, the elementary school, once they do the decommissioning of the elementary school, all of the problems will be resolved, and then we can amend the contract and have control of there as well. ECC is on hold because we're gonna start renovations of the front half of the building. We're gonna wait till we get the equipment and everything in, then we can put it on the contract. We chose to do a year to see how the company does instead of going 2 to 3 years. And then, you know, if we don't like the services that they provided, then we can go with another company. So we're not locked in for a 3 to 6 year HVAC contract.
And see, this is important because if we don't do the maintenance, then we violate the contract, and then we will have to pay full freight for whatever freight. So this is another, and as Jonathan stated with the elementary school, thankfully we stayed on top of that one, because there were many issues with that, building. But we did have the contract.
Infinity's still dealing with it. So we're dealing with Infinity and Dennis Captain from the state.
So 6.6, go ahead, John.
6.6 is HVAC, so let me give you a little different. Controls is the technology portion of it. That tells you when the filters are dirty, your VAV boxes, your cabinet heaters, everything. That tells us everything that's going on with the building. It also turns on your hot water mixing valves, calls for heat, classrooms, all of that stuff. That's all your controls. Your HVAC stuff is your return air fans, your heat wheels, all of the bigger stuff that needs to be serviced. Coils are very expensive. Boilers, hot water heaters, everything that powers the controls tell you that, hey, you have something going on in the building. You need to go to here and handle one and get a technician out, and as well as the safest cost. So currently, since we are now out of our contract on Infinity with high school ministry, everything is service call basis. Under this contract, we save money by going there. We spent a lot of money over the previous years. I think over 600,000 with HVAC company just for calls for the elementary school for the past issues that we had on Infinity 5 years ago. So we're trying to beat that with the new high school, middle school, and get on it immediately so we can make sure if something breaks, we're in warranty, we have our logs, we give it over to the company and say, hey, we got a 5-year warranty on these air compressors. Here's our logs from the technicians that were doing their inspections, and they can send out the equipment, you pay for the labor to install it.
And then 6.7 is the elevator.
6.7 is to replace the elevator door that was damaged at the Early Childhood Center. This elevator is like an old dumbwaiter elevator. It's the original elevator, so it's kind of hard to find people to do it. So we had to reach out to someone in Michigan, and then they can get back to us. We had to build a custom part for the elevator. Yes. Once it's fixed, then we use the elevator for emergencies, handicap, the elevator's been down for almost a year.
Wow. Thanks, Jonathan.
Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
Mrs. Gator, Mrs. Newman,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Next, item number 7, new business, we have no new business at this time. Correspondence, Dr. Rock, Mr. Johnny, you have any correspondence?
No, sir.
That takes us, to number 9, announcements, any upcoming announcements. All right, at this time, we'll be moving, to executive session. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to support you going to executive session for discussion of pending intimate court action with counsel.
I second.
Been properly moved and second, Dr. Rock, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gator, Mrs. Newman,
Yes.
Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, motion passes, 5-0. We will now, enter into executive session. You know what, and following, the reconvening for executive session, we will probably immediately be going to